Welcome back Year 2 to our science lesson, and this is Miss Louise. We're going to pick up on where we left and we're going to look at seasons. But we're going to go somewhere else today. We're going to look at winter in the Arctic Circle. Now let's take a look at today's vocabulary for the lesson. Our first word is polar. Polar suggests equal opposites, such as the North and South poles, which are at the opposite ends of the planet, and both are equally as glacial or as cold, which is another meaning for polar. At the top we have the North Pole, which you can see has been circled. This is where our lesson will take place today, in the Arctic Circle. Then we have the South Pole, which is Antarctica. Our next word is Arctic. The Arctic is a polar region located at the northern part of the Earth. The Arctic consists of the Arctic Ocean, adjacent seas, parts of Alaska, Finland, Greenland, Iceland, northern Canada, Norway, Russia, and Sweden. That's 8 different countries. What you can see now is the Arctic Circle. Our next word is horizon. The horizon is the line at which the Earth's surface and the sky appear to meet, as you can see in the picture where the sun is setting. Temperature. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold something is, like a place, like the weather, like food. It is also a measure of how fast the particles are moving. That's something for another lesson though. The temperature is measured in degrees Celsius. A thermometer is used to measure temperatures. Our next word is climate. It's a pattern of weather in a region. So in Egypt, it's normally warm. Weather is what's occurring day to day. We know that one. Average weather is determined by the climate. And climate defines over decades, so 30 years. So the climate in Egypt is normally warm. Now, let's go and look at the Arctic Circle. So winter in the Arctic Circle, very different from anything that we know. The climate of the Arctic is characterized by long, cold winters and short, cool summers. There is a large amount of variability in climate across the Arctic, but all regions experience extremes of solar radiation in both summer and winter. Some parts of the Arctic are covered by ice all year round, and nearly all parts of the Arctic experience long periods with some form of ice on the surface. The average temperatures in January range from about -34 to 0 degrees, and winter temperature can drop below 50 degrees over large parts of the Arctic. Average July temperatures range from about -10 to 10 degrees, with some land areas occasionally getting to 30. Now we're looking at a climate extremely different to Egypt, what we're used to. Some parts through the year, it is always day or always night time in the Arctic Circle. Let's see why this happens. The Earth is tilted on its axis, something we looked at last week. The reason for this phenomenon is that the Earth tilts on its axis in exactly the same way as a globe is tilted on its stand. The planet itself is tilted. During the Northern Hemisphere's summer, the northern polar regions of the planet face towards the sun, resulting in sunlight 24 hours a day, so all day and night. During the winter, however, the northern regions of the planet face away from the sun, as the rest of the planet is in the way. The sun's rays do not reach this part of the planet. This results in twilight months, when the sun does not appear in the sky at all, even at midday. And the opposite applies in the uninhabited regions south of the Arctic Circle, so back down in the South Pole. So, much of the winter in the Arctic Circle is always nighttime, whereas the summer is always daytime. North of the Arctic Circle, the sun is below the horizon 24 hours a day during the winter, and above the horizon 24 hours a day during the summer. So Tromsø in Norway is home to extreme light variations between the seasons. During these polar nights, which last from November to January, the sun does not rise at all. Then the days get progressively longer until the midnight sun period, from May to July, when it never sets. The Arctic Circle is home to a variety of animals. Many are working animals, which means that they help humans all year round. The polar bear is a very famous Arctic animal, which I think we all know. The walrus, the Arctic fox, reindeers, fish, and seals. The Arctic is very famous for its fishing. The people of the Arctic are traditionally Inuits, or also known as Eskimos. We know them very well for their igloos, their homes built of ice. Alongside the Inuits, we also have modern life, people just like you and me, getting along, trying to survive these harsh winters. Surrounded by a modern world, opposed to how the Inuits live. Something else we need to have a quick look at, the Northern Lights. Another thing the Arctic is very famous for. These lights occur due to the sun's light and the extreme cold, but this is something for another lesson. So how does this compare to the winters that we have in Cairo? Yes, it gets a little bit chilly, but it normally ranges from 21, drops down to 10. Compared to in the Arctic, where we see minus 50. Yes, it gets very chilly in Egyptian winters, and we do get a few floods here and there, and sandstorms. But in general, it's much warmer, and life continues to be much the same. We may have to wear a coat and hat when we go out, but we don't have to put our snow boots on. Okay, let's have a few questions on the lesson. How many countries did we say were in the Arctic Circle? That's correct. We said that there are 8. So number 2, is Greenland an Arctic country? Excellent. Yes, it is. Now, what does the word temperature mean? It's how hot or cold something is. Excellent work, Year 2. You're doing great. Question 4. Can we remember what we mean when we say a polar night? That's right. It's nighttime all the time, and there is no daylight. Our last question. The traditional people of the Arctic, the Inuits, build homes from snow blocks and ice. What are these homes called? That's correct. They are called igloos. Excellent work, Year 2. I hope you enjoyed the lesson in exploring the frozen winters of the Arctic Circle, which is a very amazing place. Check it out online. Look on YouTube at some videos and see the Northern Lights. It really is a fascinating place. Excellent work, Year 2. And take care for now, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.